from a national security point of view, we need to make sure that we protect ourselves against terrorism. It's the single biggest threat I think we have to our peace of mind and to our way of life. We cannot afford to take another body blow as we saw in 9/11. And certainly we have to make sure that we have responsibly defended our borders, and we've taken the fight to the enemy where they live. From a force structure point of view, I don't believe we can afford to keep hundreds of thousands of troops deployed in combat zones indefinitely. We've been in Afghanistan for 9 years with really no end in sight. I mean,
Right.
It could be 2015, 2016 before we start effectively drawing down towards zero. These same soldiers go back and back and back to these war zones. It's terribly detrimental. Our equipment gets worn out, yet we have a force structure where we're building stealth bombers and stealth fighters against an enemy at this point that doesn't exist. And those are very, very high-cost weapon systems. One F-35 aircraft could certainly pay for all the flak jackets and armored vehicles that we need in Afghanistan right now. You could build 100 helicopters probably for the cost of one F-35, and we don't have enough helicopters to move our forces around in Afghanistan. And these improvised explosive devices are extremely detrimental and the single largest cause of death and injury in Afghanistan and in Iraq. So if we don't have the right equipment on the field supporting our troops, we shouldn't be putting them there. I think we need to build a force structure that's much more oriented towards special missions, special operations. And I know we're trying to build that force, and it builds slowly, but I think that's the type of operation that we need to support. We're certainly in an era of what they refer to as asymmetrical warfare, where we're not going up against known states who have defined armies who wear uniforms. There are people who are, as you know, blending into the woodwork. There are no lines anymore in this kind of warfare. So it does demand a different type of an approach. But I will say, look, it's been a good fortune to travel around the world for many years now, since 1975. And I've met people from all different walks of life and different religions, different cultures. And I believe that those who are intent upon doing us harm are not representative of the Muslim faith in general.
I think that's true.
However, I certainly recognize the fact that there are many who would do us harm and are doing us harm right now. And I think the case in Fort Hood with Major Hassan is one of those areas where we were becoming perhaps a little too politically correct. There were many, many warning signs. And that's a real problem. When warning signs are disregarded because the notion of political correctness creeps in, then all of our security is jeopardized. And I don't think anybody on that base in Fort Hood thought that they were at all threatened until the moment when he started shooting. Because of all the places in America you'd want to be, would be on a military base. And that sends shock waves really through all of our armed services. And of course we saw this happen with a turncoat over in Afghanistan just a few weeks ago. With the suicide bombing that killed the CIA, 7 CIA operatives in Afghanistan. It's a very difficult war to fight. It is not a typical war as we have fought throughout the ages in this country, and it requires a much more delicate approach and a much more surgical approach to get the job done.